Okay, hey everybody. Awesome. It's great to see people. Thank you for showing up. Hope it wasn't too much of a pain to get down here. I don't know, I drove from the airport today and traffic was awful, and so hopefully it was sort of normal traffic for you all. Yeah, good. Excellent. Well, so tonight we're doing our first in-person, well, our only in-person, I suppose, required pair programming activity. And it's nice that we got like two pairs. So that'll be good. Don't know if anybody else will be showing up. I did have a couple of people who had to bow out. Someone actually like had a job interview scheduled at this time, like at the last minute. And so I was like, yep, hey, congratulations. Go interview for a job. So we'll wish them luck. Um, and for anybody who couldn't make it in person, if you're tonight, if you're watching the recording, please show up in person for next Wednesday. I'd really like you to be able to experience pair programming in person. Um, while it's a valid experience doing it remote, and those of you who are here tonight have an opportunity to do it remote next week, it's a very different experience. And I think what I've found is that unless you've sort of done it in pairs, it's or done it in person, it's more difficult to do it remotely. So that'll be the primary goal and activity for tonight. It'll take me probably like 20, 25 minutes to introduce everything and get everybody set up, and then we'll spend the rest of the class doing the kata. Um, and let's see here. So let's just start out with it though. The koans project and quiz two were due before class tonight. Saw a bunch of submissions. If you submitted it before, like, I don't know, 5:15 or something, I went and ran through the grading script and sent you an email. While you're all pairing, I'll go through the other submissions. What did you think of the koans? What was, was it effective? Were there things that were challenging? Too much, too little? What's, there are a lot of them, yeah. Yep. Good.
I think that it was like definitely useful for like getting a grasp on language. You get a lot of like the same kinds of examples for the same concept.
Yeah, right. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, there is goodly amount of repetition and I don't know, I think yeah, on the one hand it might reinforce some things, but yeah, if it seems like kind of like, oh, I just did this with longs and now I'll do it with ints and yep.
Yeah,
Uh yep, right. Yeah, I've heard that one too. Excellent. Good. Well, let's see here. Hope that folks start to think about Project One. That's due a week from tonight. The plan of attack is due this Sunday. So then, if you haven't sort of started thinking about it, please make some set aside some time, tomorrow or really before the weekend starts to start breaking ground on that. Let's see here. What else can I tell you before we start class? Anything else on your mind or anything else that you're wondering about with regards to what's going on or what you learned? Any questions about the projects or the work or anything else? Hmm, we're good. Okay. Awesome. Well, let's talk about Paramod programming. We'll use, let's see here. Oh, this is the same handout as last week, which let's see here. Oh, maybe you'll get on I'll put it back. I'll put it on the Slack and stuff because yeah, I'll put it on Slack later. Um, so let's see here. On Monday, we got an introduction to pair programming. We did that operating theater activity, and thank you to everybody who participated in that. Um, we gave you an idea of what pairing was all about, although you just, dipping our foot in. We only did it for a little while, and everybody had a couple of minutes. Tonight, you'll certainly get more experience, and with longer Pomodoros too. So, we talked about using test-driven development. Everybody here was able to contribute to the shared repository. That's actually a really important thing to be able to do mechanically. So, thanks for doing all of that. And then just as a reminder, pair programming, I recommend that you start out with, these well-defined roles of the driver and the navigator. The driver is the person whose hands are on the keyboard. They're the one who's the member of the pair who's thinking about code syntax and making things compile and is really, implementing it. Where the navigator is, more of the brains who is, thinking about how to solve the problem, describing the solution in words, and then so the driver can hear that and then provide the implementation. And the more I think about it, the articulation of the solution is, I think, the secret sauce of pair programming, because it really forces you to not only think about the problem, but then when you articulate it and someone else has to hear it, it helps you refine your understanding, and it is immediate feedback when the driver is kind of sitting there looking at you confused because the words why they might make sense in your head, they don't necessarily make sense coming out of your mouth. So those are the two roles that I encourage you to experiment with tonight, and see how it works. A lot of what I hope you get out of this exercise is not solving the kata, because we'll see the kata is really easy, right? But it's more about getting the experience of pair programming, and because I'm curious what you think about it. Some people, yeah, find it compelling, find it like, okay, yeah, there's, it works differently. We're able to get, do certain things. And then other people are like, yeah, I tried it a couple times. It's not for me, which is a fine outcome. But what's most important to me is that you give it a try and then you think critically about what your experiences were. And we'll talk about how that works in a little bit. So these two roles in pair programming, and each member of the pair works for several minutes in that role, and then they stop coding. They reach a brief stopping point, and do a little retrospective, and talk about what happened, what their experiences were like. I have some cards they're good for prompting, to get thinking about a topic. So it's not just like, I don't know, what was it? Let's say, well, no, have a conversation about a particular aspect of working together. And then after that, the roles switch. And I think this not only gives people an experience in each role, keeps someone from like getting tired in that role or really having one person dominate in a particular role. So I found that the switching back and forth really does help maintain momentum and give people good experiences, behaving in each role, experiencing each role. Yeah. And so that's pairing. Now that we reviewed that, is there anything else that people are wondering about though? Any thoughts or concerns or ideas going into the pairing with regards to like how to do it, or sort of what the mechanics of it are? Cool. So then we also saw how to pair program with GitHub. So hey, as you might remember in that cheesy video that we watched, they were literally like, sitting at some like CRT, actually no, I think they had a flat screen, I guess it was. But it's kind of old now. But they were literally passing a keyboard back and forth, which is a fine way of doing it. But since we don't have like pairing stations set up and everybody's on their own machines, and it's not like it's 2018 anymore and people are okay with like touching other people's stuff. Uh, I encourage people to use GitHub to share their code. What we can do in this classroom is have one person plugged in. So hopefully you have either HDMI on your laptop, or you've got an adapter or something. And so plug in to the projector, and then pair together and see each person, or rather see the driver writing the code and have a discussion there. And then at the end of the round, commit your code, push it up to GitHub, and then at the beginning of the next round, the new driver just merely pulls it down. This will not only allow us to work on our own machines and our own environments, but also get us experienced with coding concurrently with other people. With only two pairs, there's a very low likelihood of something like going catastrophically wrong. But I've found with larger groups, it's been enlightening for a lot of students because they're used to just sort of working on their own repository by themselves. But there are other things that happen, other experiences that they have when all of a sudden it's like they try to do a git push, and all of a sudden they're like, well, that push is rejected because there's other changes you haven't merged in yet. And so then it gives you more experience merging in other people's code. Luckily, you won't be working on exactly the same code bases, so there shouldn't be conflicts. If there are, and if you're concerned about it, raise your hand. I'm happy to come help you look at the situation. And so then you get some good experiences with GitHub while pairing. So yeah. So then we did this FizzBuzz kata last time. Hey, come have a seat. We did this FizzBuzz kata last time, and we'll be doing another kata this time. It'll be computing leap years. Again, very simple problem, but that's much on purpose. Here, tonight we're learning about pair programming, not necessarily learning how to, implement the calculation of a leap year. And last time, on Monday, we worked in the 7-minute Pomodoros. It'll be 10-minute Pomodoros this time, and you'll be working with a pair. Cool. Uh, so let's see here. So tonight, we're going to work on a different kata. But before I do that, I think I want to talk about how yeah, here we go. The pair and mob programming handout to really talk about how this stuff is graded. And hey, welcome.
Thank you.
Deboya?
Yeah.
Is that here? Yeah, welcome. Awesome. Whoa, look at all this tiny writing. Okay, so you're gonna be writing some code. You're gonna be writing code with another person, and I've done pairing for a while now, and I didn't know how to assess it at first. I think it's important to give people feedback on their work, which is an assessment. And again, the goal is to learn about pairing. The goal isn't to like solve the kata or have the best solution or whatever. Unlike your projects, there's not a lot of functionality for me to test. So I don't, the fact of the matter is that I don't really care so much about the code you write. I'm more interested in your experiences pairing and what it means to you. So, oh, oops, looks like I didn't update that. Yeah. So, okay, sorry. I've talked about like why you should do. Yeah, pairing, and yeah, I'll update that URL. Sorry about that. Um, so after tonight, there will be a is it open after this one? It might not be open until after the second one. What you'll do after you've done your pairing activities is that I'd like you to reflect on it. And so there's a little quiz with a couple of questions, which is basically like, hey, who did you pair with? And then please, provide a link to the GitHub repository that has, your pairs code in it, so that we can check it out. And again, the quality of the code, honestly, is not something I'm going to evaluate. Quantity, yes, maybe. I reserve the right to sort of look at your changes and like if there's only one commit and only 3 lines of code was committed, that's going to be a little smelly. You'll lose some credit for it. But if you don't get the kata complete by the end of class, that's perfectly okay. I'm much more interested in what your experiences were. Um, Yeah. And so, but what's really most important here is a reflection on the pairing. And so then I want to hear about like what you experienced in terms of sort of what you observed, what you learned, the nature of the interaction with your pair. This might be a little different than the kinds of quizzes that you have certainly in this class or in other classes, but I found that this is the best way I have to really um, evaluate what you took away. So please, do some critical thinking about your experiences tonight. And then just a more general question about what your thoughts are on pair programming, mainly where you think it would be effective and where it might be ineffective, certain situations there. So again, the intent of this is to have you think critically about your experiences, pair programming, and write, a couple paragraphs about it. I appreciate being succinct. Um, Oh, and then also, just to reinforce, parent bond programming is only for these in-class katas. Your projects, your airline projects, and any other koans like that, any other work is individual work. I had, boy, this is several years ago now. I I detected some plagiarism in the class and I reached out to the students and I'm like, hey, what's going on? They're like, oh, I thought we could like, implement project 4 as pairs because we do pairing in this class. It's like, where'd you get that idea? And so, okay, had to get the lawyers out and be extra clear that, yep, that is not something that is allowed. So anyway, pairing and mobbing only in these katas. You'll have lots of opportunity to do it. The all other work is individual work. So that's how tonight's experience will be assessed. Anything else I can tell you about that? Anything that you want to follow up on or that you'd like some more explanation of?
You're just doing the leap years one day?
Just leap years today. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's go to that one then. So yeah. Okay. So the first the first kata that we'll do, the kata that we'll do tonight is called leap years, and it's just that. I think it's another good kata that pairs well with test-driven development because the algorithm is so simple and hopefully familiar to everybody. So, okay, we don't need to read all about why there are leap years. I hope everybody's familiar with the concept of leap year. And if you're not, it's basically the following, right? The leap years are years that have February 29th on the calendar, right? Normally, February has 28 days, but there are certain years in which February has 29 days. So here are the rules. All years that are divisible, sorry, all years that are divisible by 400, those are leap years. So 2000 was a leap year, as will be the year 2400. If a year is divisible by 100 but not 400, those are not leap years. So, 1900 wasn't a leap year, 2100 won't be a leap year, but 2000 is because it's divisible by 400. If you've got a year that is divisible by 4 but not by 100, those are leap years. So, like, 2016, 2020, 2024, those were all leap years. And then any year that's not divisible by 4, that's not a leap year. So, 2019, 2026, those are not leap years. Everybody got that? Okay, yeah. Might not, it's okay if you didn't know all those rules. I didn't realize that leap years divisible by 4 are divisible by 400. That's neat. Um, cool. Okay, then. Um, that's the kata that we're going to do. And it's not terribly prescriptive about what the input and the outputs are. Feel free to just implement a single method, which is like is leap year. It takes a number, right? Yeah. The goal here though is to apply test-driven development, and so then I encourage you to look at code coverage and make sure that even though you've got a very simple method, that all the branches are covered and that you're confident that you've got all the test cases enumerated. And with these rules, you ought to be able to implement some test cases. Anything else I'd like to discuss, or I can tell you about the kata?
Are we handling this one?
Let's keep it simple. Let's just honestly, let's write some code. Let's not worry about input or output or like the main method or reading from files or anything like that. Let's just start with just having a method. And actually, yeah, let's go look at the code. Um, so here I have a checkout of the Kata's Summer 2026 repository, which hopefully all of you have a Kata, have a checkout of. If you go and pull the latest changes, you ought to get here. Oops, sorry, I need to reload this. What's in here? Yeah, that should be deleted. Oh, here we go. You just like Maven. Nice. Um, so earlier tonight, I added a leap years directory to Kata Summer 2026 that has 4 pair projects underneath it. Does everybody see that? So after you get a MC and some not yet, just give everybody an opportunity to pull down the latest changes. Tonight we'll need 3 pairs or 2. We got 5 of us, and so then we can decide if we want to. I'm happy to pair with someone if you'd like to pair with me, or if you want to have a trio, that works also. And inside each one of those, I'll also look at pair 1 here. It's basically what you ought to be used to now with these katas. There's a main class called leap years. It's got a main method in it, so out of the box does stuff. And then there are unit tests for it. This is this kata template is exactly what we started off with FizzBuzz on Monday. So you've got leap years test and leap years. And so what I encourage you to do is test-driven development and start adding some test cases here. Go through the red-green refactor cycle to give you more experience implementing unit tests using the JUnit API, using the Hamcrest API. Feel free to go back and consult what we did with FizzBuzz, or go look at my repository like the student project to remind yourself of like various assertion methods and how to do stuff like that. And yeah, again, let's keep it simple. I think just writing unit tests for, some method on the leap years class, which is like, is leap year, where it takes an int, returns a Boolean, that kind of thing. I think would be totally sufficient for this activity. So that's the code. Was everybody able to get to update their checkout to get this code? Yeah, you're still working on it? Okay, yeah.
Conflict.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's take a look real
So
quick.
I know what happens
Yep.
because I changed this here and I changed it on my repo.
How do we
I
do
need
it?
to fix this first.
Yeah. And this is IntelliJ, right?
Yes.
I encourage you to use IntelliJ to do it because it's a really nice tool for resolving the conflicts.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you go to the 5 lines up there for the menu, yep, and go over to Git. There's a Git menu. It's like over towards the left. No, it's over.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
I know. Yeah, right. Oops. Right. All it takes is just clicking exactly the wrong place. Yeah, nice. And I'll say Git and then update project, the third one. Yeah, and say merge incoming changes. Yep. So it tries that. Merging. Great. So now it's like giving you this view of the conflict. How about you make this big so you can
Large,
see?
yeah.
Yeah. And so then what you've got here going on. Oh, I wonder if well, you're not on the Zoom by any chance, are you?
No.
I kind of like everybody to see this. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Let
Can you
me
get on the
share this
Zoom?
one, yeah.
Yeah. So Du Bois got a merge conflict, and I'd like to use this as an example to show you how to merge a conflict in IntelliJ, because it's got a really nice tool for choosing what to keep from in the merge. So, oh yeah, I probably gotta let you in or something. Yep, there you are. Admit, and then I gotta let's see here. Oh, I gotta change this host to sharing. Who can share? All participants. And then, okay, cool. Duboy, could you share your screen?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Screen.
Nice. So what he did was actually, would you mind alt tabbing back to like the main IntelliJ screen? Nice. Yeah, just minimize that. Okay, cool. Great. Oops. Oh, maybe that's a modal dialogue. Well, what he did was can you open up the menus again using the five? Yeah, this thing. Does that work? Maybe not.
No.
Okay. IntelliJ, I'm a big fan of IntelliJ's Git integration. Maybe it's because I don't know the command line for Git as well as I should, or maybe I find it a little confusing. I like to use IntelliJ for fetching things and merging things in from GitHub. So there's a command called update project. You might have seen me use it, and that basically goes and pulls the latest changes and fetches the new branch from GitHub. And when Du Bois did that, Git found some merge conflicts. And since he did it through IntelliJ, IntelliJ provides this, what I think is a pretty nice interface for merging those conflicts, meaning that he had some changes in his local repository, basically to the same lines that were changed in the remote repository, and now he's got to sort of choose which set of changes does he want. So if you could maximize this window again so we can see it. Nice. Okay, so let's see here. This is the Katas repository. Um, yeah, okay, these are interesting. So I'm guessing. Oh, okay. So let's explain to you, what you're seeing here. So on he had some changes that hadn't been committed yet. And so those are over on the left. Actually, yeah, you can see my mouse there. Those are over on the left. So that's basically like what his code looks like on the file system right now. And then over on the far right are the changes that are coming in from GitHub. Those are the changes from remote. And then in the middle is ultimately the result of the merge of these two things. So the first thing I recommend that you do is up here, there's this apply all non-conflicting changes. I recommend that you click all. And what that will do is yep, and so over to the right there. Yeah, so that all. Yeah, if you click that all button, that's a button actually there.
That
Oh,
of
sorry.
the
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. And you can, I think you can move click on the green, I think. Oh, yeah, that works too. Awesome. Nice.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yep. So there's so if you click on that. Yep. Go ahead. What that does is it says, oh, hey, you've got all of these, um, you've got some lines that change but weren't in conflict. So anything that wasn't in conflict, that automatically will take those changes. And as you might have observed, the middle there changed. Now, yep, now there are conflicts there on lines 14 and 15. So locally, he had changed that your user ID to his user ID, which actually that for this repository, that wasn't intentional. What's over on the right are a change that I probably made to change the group ID and the artifact ID. So I think ultimately what you want are the changes on the right. So to get those, you want to accept the changes on the right by going on the right here at line 14. There's left. There's two. Sorry, on the right.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah. So yeah, if you click that, that will accept the changes from the remote. Yep. So click that. Nice. And as you can see, then the middle was updated with that. And we essentially want to discard the changes on the left. And so if you go over to the left and click the X, that'll discard those changes. Yep. And now IntelliJ is saying, great, you've merged all the conflicts. And so if you click the blue save changes and finish merging, it's there as part of that green pop-up. It's the words that say save changes and finish merging. Yep. Yep. Right. Yeah. Great. And so that completes the merge. I find that is so much easier than trying to do things from the command line.
Yeah.
If you guys have ever had a Git conflict before, the file itself then gets these sort of arrows, coming in from the left, coming in from the right. I've been trying to work with that for like years and years and years, and it's still a challenge for me. So, okay, you've merged the conflicts. And can you do a Git status? Nice. Okay, looks like your pom.xml is modified. Well, that's interesting. I'm curious about what changed in pom.xml. And let's use IntelliJ to look at that. So over on the left, oh, looks like you're doing it. Over on the left, there's an icon which is like a circle with a line through it. So it's the one down below the file folder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the commit view. And here's where you can look at the diffs. So if you double click on that pom.xml file, it'll tell you what changed. So yeah, I want to see what has changed locally now. Oh, yeah. I don't think we need that change because this is the repository that we all share. So that's not really your GitHub user ID. It'll
Yeah.
be something that we create for everybody else. So you can undo that change by clicking the right arrow that's in the margin between the two. So they're on line 32. Yep, that thing right there. Yep, that'll get rid of that change. And I think that means that are there other changes? Let's see if there are other changes. You can navigate to there are other ones. Yep. So scroll down. And this is probably, yeah, it looks like, yeah, you did that again, which would have been a fine thing to do. Yep, thank you. But yeah, undo that one also. And then, yep, once more with feeling. And then, yep, fourth time. Great. So actually, what you ended up doing is undoing your local changes. Got nothing wrong with that. And since this is a shared repository, yeah, it probably doesn't make sense to have your individual name at this point. Next week, I think I will go through and sort of show you what those things are used for. But in the meantime, I think this is good. Okay, excellent. So you've made some changes there, and now I wonder if you have changes to push. So to show you how to do it through IntelliJ. Go back to the 5-line menu. They call it the hamburger or maybe the Big Mac or whatever. And go to the Get menu there and say Git push. It's the second one down. Yep. And that will push things up. It turns out there aren't any changes. We probably reverted all your local changes. No big deal there. So I don't know, click push and see if anything happens. Probably nothing, right? Pushing.
No.
Yep. Yeah, no, everything's up to date. Okay, that's good. Cool. I wanted to show you all of that just in cases of workflow that you encounter working with a shared repository. Because again, there are multiple people that are committing. I wouldn't expect it because to be clear, the intent was that each pair works on its own code. But hey, stranger things have happened. Okay. Thanks, Deboye. Appreciate you sharing your screen there. So let's see here. I think really that's everything that I wanted to cover. Actually, no, let me just go back and talk about this. I'll share my screen in case anybody's watching. Oops, I want to share my screen again. So yeah, just to reiterate, each pair will have their own directory. Oh yeah, and as an initial commit, just to again make sure that everybody can commit, I recommend that once you form your pairs or your trio, however you want to do it tonight, that you go into the pom.xml for your project and put in your names. This way, again, you can make sure that everybody can commit, and so that you know who your partner's name is, because I realize that everybody knows each other. Oops. Go and do that, and then yeah, make sure that everything runs, everything builds, and then we'll start pairing. We're going to take an initial 5 minutes just to get set up, talk to each other, meet your pair, figure out who'll go first. I'm going to talk about the kata. This is an adaptation that I add to the activity based on the feedback from the students saying, hey, listen, we'd really like just a couple of minutes just to get started. I think it's a great idea. It really helps people orient themselves towards the kata. And just to be clear, you're not looking to code right now. This is when you can like sketch things on the whiteboard or just come up with a little plan, sketch out some scenarios, some given when thens, to figure out what it is that how you might approach it. Then come up with, decide who will be the first driver and then therefore who will be the first navigator. I'll be the timekeeper for the Pomodoro. When we do things remote, we'll need a timekeeper, but since we're all in person, I'll just do that. And then we'll start our 10-minute Pomodoros. There'll be 7 minutes of TDD to implement the kata. And then at the end of that 7 minutes, that's when you'll commit your code. I encourage you to run Maven Clean Verify just to make sure that everything works. But then commit your code, push it up to GitHub so that the next person can have it, and then take 2 minutes to reflect on your experience. Take one of the cards and have a discussion about that topic, and then switch roles and start over again. And we'll do that for several rounds, and then at the end we will do a longer retrospective, and then at the end, and probably I don't know, probably like do this for like 45 minutes an hour or something like that. And then at the end, we will do a larger retrospective. And I've asked each pair, I guess I don't need 16 pairs, there'll be two or three. Call out what worked well, what worked didn't, and then any ideas for the future to inform what you do next week. So things you don't want to forget or things that you want to try when you pair program again. So that's the activity. Anything that you're left wondering with, or anything else that you'd like to discuss or that I can tell you before we dive in? No? Excellent. Okay. Well, as always, I'm curious to see how it goes. I'm going to stop the recording or pause the